All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Pain Points webinar series. My name is Jessie Devine, and I'm the Community Engagement Manager here at QuoteWerks. Our goal is to dive into common business challenges that companies face when creating quotes and proposals. And today's pain point topic is sending quotes and proposals full of errors. I'm sure this is something that we've seen and where we've sent a document to a customer and with the wrong information. There isn't a way to take that moment back and for them to unsee the work or the dollar amount you might have sent. So that can be problematic, right? So with that, we know your time is valuable, and so these webinars are going to be fairly short, and we'll keep them under 30 minutes. We want you to be able to apply these solutions right away, and we want these webinars to be as quick and efficient as what your quoting process is or will be. So with that, with every webinar, we're going to go over a quick agenda of what I'll be covering today to show you how to easily resolve some of the pain points that you're facing when it comes to these quotes and proposals. So first we'll go over the pain points, then we'll go over the solutions, and of course a live demo of how we can implement this right away. I also want to encourage you all to ask questions in the question box. I'll circle back to the questions at the end of the webinar. If for some reason I can't get to the questions, I'll be sure to follow up with an email or even a phone call if you prefer. I'm happy to do that for you guys. All right. Additionally, all of the webinars are recorded, and we'll send you a link of the webinar when it's been uploaded to our YouTube page and videos page. And if you haven't done so already, we definitely recommend subscribing to our YouTube page so that you get notified anytime we upload a new video. We also post a ton of videos and help and resources on our social media sites, so definitely follow us there too. All right, next slide. So in today's webinar, we'll be covering the pain point of sending quotes and proposals to your customers with errors. And this is definitely probably the most popular topic. You definitely have the most registrants today, something that, we really want to keep our sales reps from sending this information. So have you ever had a sales rep with an email or a quote to a customer that you wished you'd reviewed before a customer received it? Perhaps they've had the wrong items, had the incorrect dollar amounts, items with $0 amounts, or really low margins or really high margins. Since you're on this webinar, my guess is that you've probably experienced that before. So let's talk about how we can help alleviate some of these issues. Solution number one is going to be peer reviews. The first solution, you'll always have the option to have another set of eyes review your quote before sending it to your customers, which will reduce errors. You can send peer reviews with any version of QuoteWerks. So if you have QuoteWerks, you have access to peer reviews. We can enhance your review process with Quote Valet, which I'll demo in a minute. And if you don't have Quote Valet, we can definitely set you up with test demos for 30 days if you'd like. And our second solution is going to be document approvals. With document approvals, only management-approved documents are sent to clients. It ensures accuracy, proper margin, and help limit mistakes and are properly vetted. So you can also get document approvers per sales rep and define under which conditions the approval is required and by who the approval needs to be obtained from. You can also do an approval requirement can be triggered by document or line item level. So for example, if any single item's margin is less than 5%, then this quote requires an approval. Or if the margin on the entire quote is less than 15%, then this quote requires an approval too. We can also do approvals by approval escalation. So when an approval is required, you can specify who is authorized to approve the quote. And for example, if the quote amount is greater than $10,000, let's say, it requires the single approval from the sales rep manager. If their approval is, if the quote amount is greater than $50,000, then it requires a single approval from an escalated approval. such as a CEO, and if the quote amount is greater than $100,000, then it requires multiple approvals from escalated approvers like a CEO or a CFO. So you can see how this can really play out really nicely for you guys. So approvals are also available in all editions of QuoteWorks, and again can be enhanced with Quote Ballet, which again, so I'll show you how to do that with the live demo. So in the live demo, let's go over peer reviews and document approval. Now, here, let me get set up. All right. So here we have a document that I have pre-created, but you can see the document has line items and everything here. We have our sold to and shipped to all set up. So now I'm ready to deliver that item. I can select the cover page, and I've already selected this. You can select your layouts, your literature, spec sheets if you have any, and links. But I want to submit this for peer review. So all I have to do is click the button that says submit for peer review, which is pretty simple. So when I click that button, it's going to require me to save it first, but I can name it how I wish, and I press OK. So what this is doing is it's uploading to Quote Ballet on the background, and it's going to bring an email window up. This email window is the default. If you don't like the default, you can create your own email template and then use one of the drop downs here. I'll show you if you have any questions about email templates in the Q&A portion of things. But the two, you can email to whomever you wish, manually type that information in. Or if you want, you can actually select from one of your users within QuoteWorks as well. So what I'm going to do is, select the user. Maybe I want this person, and press OK. So these are the three people that I want to just check my documentation, make sure everything is correct. So I can then send this quote, and if they have Quote Ballet, or if you have Quote Ballet, the QuoteWorks user can view it through Quote Ballet. You can also view it within the document too. So if they get this email, they don't have Quote Ballet, they can just click here to open the document right within QuoteWorks. Something to note is you'll want to make sure that within your settings that you can have just one person viewing the quote at a time, because if they do have any changes, you don't want them to save over that work if two people are in it at the same time. So right after this, I'll show you how to make sure that's set within your settings, but that's something you'll want to note. So let's say we open it in Quote Ballet. If they click the link, they can go directly to it. But you can also view it right within Quote Ballet Insight. For those of you who don't know what Quote Ballet Insight is, it's a part of Quote Ballet. There's no additional cost to it. It's part of your Quote Ballet subscription, but it gives you insight into what's going on in your business, so you can quickly see what documents are available. But for this particular webinar, we're going to see the peer reviews. So I can actually see what peer reviews are available. And here I can see, oh, I got my peer review to check. All right, let's see how it's looking. And you can see here it's all internal. It's not for the customer. This is just an internal view. And say, all right, so let's see. Everything looks pretty good. Oh, look, security is misspelled. So what I can do here as the reviewer is say, hey, I noticed that security is misspelled. You will want to change this. And just press add review. All right, and now that review has been added. But let's say you don't have Quote Ballet, which is fine. You can actually change your notes in a different location. So once I've submitted this comment, Jessie will get a notification and she can make the changes. However, let's say that you want to view it within QuoteWorks. You can actually open the document, and under the Sale Info tab, say, write the notes right in the dynamic notes section. So we know that the security word was spelled incorrectly. So what I'm going to do is highlight it in a different color like orange, and right in the notes tab, put the timestamp in. and it's unique to each user. So if I signed in as a different user, we can put the timestamp in and with their name and say, in orange highlight, security is misspelled. So that's where you would change that within if you were opening it manually. So something I want to know is how do you see this information? So if you go under the Sale Info tab, you can actually see in your workflow here that the peer review was requested, and you can see if there any changes were made. All right. So peer review is very simple, much more simple than document approvals. Document approvals is also very simple as well, but peer reviews, as you can see, is just a click of a button. You can have your peers review it. They can make their comments and move forward. So I do want to know a couple of things for the settings for peer reviews. So in order to actually access peer reviews inside of Quote Ballet, you'll want to go to Tools, Options, the Quote Ballet tab. Within the Quote Ballet tab, you'll select the Quote Ballet Setup button. And you want to make sure that Use for Peer Reviews is checked. For document approvals as well, you'll want to make sure document approvals request is checked. So this will make sure that you can see that right within QuoteWerks under your dashboard. You'll be able to see these two tabs. All right, so that is how you make sure that that's available within Quote Ballet. The next thing you'll want to do is make sure that only one user is allowed inside of your document at the same time. So under Tools Options, you go to the Installation tab. You'll want to make sure that this checkbox is checked. This is going to allow for just one person inside the document at a time so that that person can make the change. If once they close out, the next person can go in. This is so that your hard work is not saved over by somebody else that was in the document. So just small important tips. So let us get to document approval. And again, I'll answer questions at the very end. So stick around and I'll make sure to answer that for you. All right, so let's get to document approval. So I'm going to log in as a different user. I'm going to log in as one of my sales reps here. All right, so I want to create a new document. And I'm Ben, and I've created a document. My user is set, and I'm fairly new to the company, let's say, and I have to have all my documents sent for approval. So the total comes up to $67,000, but Ben is only allowed to really send quotes that are $25,000 and under. Anything over that requires a document approval, and I'll go over the setting and setup of that at the very end. So let's say I have everything I want. I want to check my layouts. Everything is added to the quote. Ben tries to send the quote. Oh, he can't do that. This is going to give you a little window warning saying, hey, your approval is required for single standard approver when the document is over $25,000. So we know this document is well over that, and that is required. If you try to email it, can't email it, can't save it as PDF, can't upload it to Quote Ballet either. Oops. Save the document, but it's still going to give you that warning, hey, you can't do that. So this is a really great way to prevent people from going around you to sending that quote to the customer. So now we're going to click Request Approval, just similar to peer reviews, but the difference is that it's going to pre-populate the single standard approver emails in there. So these are the people that are allowed to approve the quote. And again, your subject will have your document number and request for approval information. All right, so it will say, would you please approve the quote below for release to the customer? And again, on Quote Ballet, we can see view the quotes on Quote Ballet for approval view. And again, you can see here, click here for the quote to open directly within QuoteWorks on your machine. So let's just view the quote as the Quote Valet user. Again, let's go into QuoteWorks dashboard, Quote Valet Insight, and I can go to the approvals. Here I can see, okay, I need to approve the document for Ben. If I had a bunch of different users and a bunch of different quotes, it would be all listed here. You'll be able to see it all in one simple location. So let's view that approval page. So we can see here, all right, this is Ben's quote. This is all the information, looks great. So I want to move forward and approve this quote. So what I'm going to do is, again, if it wasn't approved, I can write a note here, but I'm going to approve it and say, hey, looks great. Let's move forward. And I'm going to submit and the quote is going to be approved. All right, so let's go back to QuoteWorks and close out of here and see what the quote looks like. So if I go to the Quote Valet tab, it's going to update the information. It says, Quote Valet, since you last checked, the document was approved by Jesse Devine at 2 o'clock. Awesome. So you can see that it's been approved here. But if I go again into the Notes tab, Fill Info tab, you'll be able to see the workflow right here. It says approval request sent today. Quote Valet approved by Jesse Devine. So you can see here. The most important thing that you'll notice is that things are really grayed out and locked. And the reason is it's been approved. So any changes that Ben would make would be undo all that work. He won't be able to delete information. You can see all of that's grayed out. Can't change any of the information. So at this point, you can send the quote. But what we want to do is see if we unlock it, he can actually make changes. But if he unlocks the document, it's going to undo that approval, and he'll have to resend it for approval. So let's just upload the document because now we know it's been approved. See, I've uploaded. I have the access to this area now. And I can send the email. And from here, we can send the email, and the quote's ready and on the way. But I do want to show you what would happen if we did it manually. So let's do that. So I'm going to unlock the document and show you a different scenario here. All right. So as you can see, the workflow has changed. All right. So we know the limit is $25,000, and Ben wants to send the quote. So what he's going to do is delete the line that's really big and add a customer discount. We're going to do a discount of $8,000. And as you can see here, now the quote is $24,841, right under that $25,000 mark. Ben's trying to get around his managers, and okay, let's see if I can deliver the document. So let's see, everything's good to him. All right, he's going to email the document. Oh, okay. So the approval required, so this window comes up and it says approval required when document margin is under 10%. So this is a really great tool within QuoteWorks. Again, this is to prevent your sales reps from sending anything that's just $1 amount, or has $0 in there, or just the margins are too low or too high. This is just protects the line items in the document, and from making sure that you're making money on these quotes. So Ben isn't able to send this quote. If I clicked any of the other areas, the same thing would happen. So again, this protects your margins, and we want to make sure that the quotes are sent out correctly. So Ben's not able to do that. So let's say he just undoes that and needs to send the quote again for approval. All right, so let's deliver the quote again. and submit it for request for approval. Press OK. All right, this quote has already been updated. Let's see, are you sure? Yep. All right, so again, it's pre-populated the standard approval information. And we're going to send this document to our user, to our standard approval. So let's just do that really quick. All right, so 1 second while I get logged into the other user here. File, log in as other user. All right, so I'm now logged in as Jessie Devine, and I want to approve the document manually. So all I would have to do is go to File, Approve Quote. Are you sure you are about to approve this document? Are you sure you want to proceed? And all I have to do is say yes. And here I can send the quote to notify Ben that it's been approved. All right, and I'm going to log in as Ben, just so that we can see what it looks like once it's been approved. So I'm going to do Ben Gates. All right, so let's open that document. I can open it through the email link, or I can open it from my recent documents. Okay, and so if we go into the sale info tab, you'll see uploaded quote valet for acceptance and approved by Jessie Devine. So everything is ready to go. And it's really as simple as that as far as the document approvals. But I do want to show you some of the important settings as far as making sure that your document approvals and users are set correctly. So let's do that really quick. I'm going to sign in as an administrator. All right. So first, for any user profile changes, we're going to go to Utilities, User Maintenance. Then under the Profiles tab, this is where you're going to set up groups or teams for your organization. So here I have outside sales. Actually, I wanted to do that. Let's just create outside sales again. So click the gold button. I kind of did that fast, but click the gold button here, and it's going to create a new profile. Here I'm going to have the new shared profile information name, and I'm going to call that outside sales. And then for outside sales, I want to require quote approval. So I'm going to check the checkbox. And let's see, we're going to want to make sure that this is where we set those standard approvals. So you can make it as small as $1. A lot of times in our office, if there's any new person in our office, every single quote has to be checked before they send it out. So anything over $1 has to be checked. But in this scenario, we'll do when document is over $10,000. This will require a single standard approval. So a standard approval requires just one approval from the standard approvers list and will be needed for the quote to be approved. So here is where you would add that standard approver. So it could be a couple of different names if you'd like. Just one of them would need to, approve that. When the document is over $25,000, you might do that's more than $25,000. Also, all right. So we would want a single escalated approval. So this could be, somebody a little higher up in management. It could be a CFO, a CEO, sales director, whomever it may be. And then you can also do any document over $50,000 will require multiple escalated approvals. So multiple people from management that will need to check that information. All right, so let's talk about margins. So margins are really important. Again, you saw in my earlier example, if you have anything that's super low, you can protect your margins here. So if any document is under 10%, you can require a single standard approval. And when a document margin is over, 50%, this might require a single standard approval. This is really good for people who are not allowed to go over a certain margin, like government contractors. You might be obliged to be under 50%. This is a great way to make sure that that's the case. You can also do it under item level. So I do want to note this was all for the entire document. However, if you want to protect margins item by item, this is where you would do that. So again, 10% here, and maybe 50% here. So this is just per line item. All right, so now at the very bottom here, we want to talk about the restrictions. So these are what the rep is not going to be allowed to do if they're enacted by checking these checkboxes. This will not allow them to send an email, print, upload to Quote Ballet, save to PDF, convert to order, convert to invoice. So some of these may not apply to you, but if it's really beneficial if you have them all checked to make sure that all your ducks are in order. Okay, so we've now completed everything. We're just going to press OK. And we want to maybe apply this to a user. So now we have the outside sales, and we want to apply it to a user. We can go to Ben, click Edit, and we go to our Documents tab, and then the Document Approval settings down here. And what we can do is obtain these settings from another user. So we can obtain them directly from outside sales. And I can press OK and be all done here. But let's say I wanted something similar to outside sales, and maybe he's been here for a while now. We want to make it a little more flexible for him. So we're going to change, to 20,000 for the first document, maybe higher here, and 80% here. So this will allow for, a little more flexibility. We can press OK. All right. So let's say you wanted to apply these to other users. What I've done for Ben particularly, I can actually apply these document approval settings to other groups or users within QuoteWerks. So what I would do is go to the Apply To tab, check the document approval settings, and then select user or group. And I can, apply them to, again, everybody in outside sales. And you selected document approvals. This cannot be undone. Are you sure? And I'm going to say yes. All right. And now my settings have been applied to 4 other users. So really great way, instead of duplicating effort and doing it over and over and over again, you can just apply these settings to other users within your office, especially if you have a large office. This is a very nice setting for you. And that's how you set up document approvals. As you can see, it's a little bit of a setup, but once it's all set and done, this will really protect your documents. It'll be a great way to make sure that less errors are sent to your customer and that things are a little bit more accurate. As a reminder, we'll be sending a recording of this webinar to all of the attendees. You can definitely subscribe to our YouTube page and get notified of new training videos we upload. I also want to add that we pride ourselves on having awesome support and other resources. We have the handouts available to you. You can download. But I do want to go over some of the information. If you go to our homepage and go to the support tab, there'll be a drop down. There's a ton of resources there. Our help documentation, our support forums for feature requests, and just general questions are great. Videos, we have over 200 videos on our website for training. We obviously record webinars and live and recorded webinars. We have a ton of training one-on-one services as well. And of course, phone and email support. And then I do want to know, if you have any interest in trying some of the add-ons that you don't currently have, we have free trials for virtually everything that we offer. So definitely don't hesitate to ask us about that. Um, However, if you want to stick around for the questions, definitely let me know. And I'm going to stop the